The Hive. Within Destiny, there exist a number of hostile alien species from beyond our solar system, from the nomadic Fallen to the mysterious Vex. The most outright villainous of these races would of course be the Hive, skeletal warriors who worship death and darkness, and who have played a key role in many of the major conflicts within the series, especially the events of the Taken King and Shadowkeep expansions. How the Hive came to be this way is largely told through their religious texts, the Books of Sorrow, which detail their history, beliefs, and conquests. Untold ages ago, there existed a gas giant known as Fundament. This planet and its 52 moons were home to many different races, including the race that would eventually become known as the Hive, which I'll simply refer to as the Proto-Hive. Life for the Proto-Hive was nasty, brutish, and short, with their lifespans rarely exceeding 10 years. Adding to this were the numerous environmental hazards of the Fundament, such as its toxic oceans and shifting continents, and its frequently warring kingdoms. Among these kingdoms was the Osmium Court, led by the Osmium King, who in turn had 3 daughters. These princesses were named Orash, Zero, and Sethona. The Osmium King was reaching the end of his life, and had fallen into madness, speaking to the carcass of a dead worm, and fearing an event called the Syzygy, wherein Fundament's moons would align to create a massive tidal wave, destroying all civilization. Teox, teacher to the 3 princesses, feared that they were too weak to succeed their father, and invited a rival kingdom, the Helium Court, to invade so that she might rule the Osmium Court instead. While the king was assassinated, the 3 daughters escaped, with Sethona taking her father's worm, and all of them vowing revenge against the Helium Court and Teox. The sisters salvaged an ancient high-tech ship they called the Needle, and goaded on by the whispers of their father's worm, they repaired it and dove down deep into the depths of Fundament, seeking power and a way to stop the Syzygy. Within the core of the planet, they encountered a Leviathan, a massive creature aligned with the Light and the Traveler, who sought to dissuade them from the task and save them from what lurked within the deep, a ruinous path, it claimed. However, the sisters refused to believe that the life they knew was somehow better than what was within the core, so they continued to dive. The sisters at last came upon the ancient worms, who drew their power from the darkness itself. Yule, the honest worm, Air, the keeper of order, Zol, will of the thousands, the ever-hunger, and Akka, the worm of secrets. The worm gods claimed that they had been trapped within Fundament for millions of years, calling species to the planet in hopes that one of them would free them. They offered the sisters immortality and power so long as they became hosts for the worm's larvae, and they never ceased to obey their nature. Orash must always explore and inquire, Zero must always test their strength, and Sethona must always be cunning. They accepted and became Oryx, Xivu Arath, and Savathun, the first of the Hive. It's important to note that Oryx actually switches genders at this time, from female to male, and will be referred to as such from now on. Over the following years, the siblings returned to their people and spread the worm larvae among them, creating more Hive. They took back the Osmium Court and eventually the rest of their world. Teox, their betrayer, fled the planet, with the Hive pursuing. The sisters were gradually indoctrinated by their worms, becoming followers of sword logic, a philosophy and set of rules that allowed them to gain paracausal powers. Sword logic's central belief is that existence is the struggle to survive. Therefore, anything which cannot survive under its own power deserves to be destroyed. The ultimate goal of this is for one final being, the last true shape, to eventually achieve a state of being by which they may survive till the end of the universe, and possibly beyond. By following the sword logic, the sisters were able to create their own throne worlds, pocket dimensions where they might store their soul away. Upon dying in the material universe, they would simply return to their throne world to recuperate. Only by destroying their soul could they be permanently slain. The sisters' hunt for Teox eventually transformed into a campaign of genocide against several other races. When they finally came upon a foe they could not defeat, Oryx killed one of the worm gods, Akka, and attempted to commune with the darkness itself. Oryx gained the power to take, and built his dreadnought from the remnants of Akka. Eventually, the siblings would go their separate ways, with Savathun entering a black hole, and Xivu Arath heading off into unknown space. Oryx continued his crusade alone. Some Hive would eventually discover Earth, long before the Golden Age, and embed themselves deep within the moon, silently building their strength until the City Age, when they attempted an invasion of Earth. The forces of the last city managed to beat back the invaders, and followed them back to the moon for a counterattack. This event became known as the Great Disaster, as hundreds of Guardians were killed by Oryx's son, Crota. The scars of this battle are still visible upon the moon, and it was quickly declared off-limits. A fireteam of Guardians, including Eris Morn, attempted to assassinate Crota, but this too was a failure, and all but Eris were killed. It would not be until the events of Destiny 1 that the Hive would make their presence known again, eventually culminating in the death of Oryx. Xivu Arath and Savathun, however, remain at large.